Hello, this is Mara again with the class of pretérito del pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo. What is all that weird title? It's basically the one that is hubiera. I'll show you. Is hubiera ido, hubiera cantado. So we're seeing the subjunctive right now. The pretérito pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo, subjunctive. So it's the one that is hubiera cantado, hubiera vivido. That's the name. So in the previous class, or in the previous video, what we saw is the actual grammar, which is this one, and some of the uses. So in this one, you'll see some of the uses as well, but you have to take in account, I mean, if you've been in my classes, you know already, but if not, I will show you. So, el subjuntivo, the subjunctive, most of the explanation says that is a tense that obviously that is different than in English, that doesn't really exist an exact definition, but basically is saying that is something that is not, that is all structures, and they are like everything that is not a fact. For example, dreams, probabilities. See, that's a general explanation, but that actually doesn't really help you to understand what it is. What it is actually, in my opinion, that I could, yes, is that, but first of all, is a group of structures or sentences, whatever you want to call it, like these ones, that trigger the subjunctive. So there's cases and there's different type of, you know, verbs and expressions that trigger them, and all the subjunctives, all the subjuntivos. But in this case, we're just going to see the ones that are triggered to the compound subjunctive, to the hubiera, the pretérito subjuntivo. So what I'm trying to say, for example, if you have no creo que, always goes with subjunctive after. In this case, it's present subjunctive because no creo is presente simple, it's present tense. So es no creo que plus que, negation plus que, okay, no creo que sea un lindo día. So, but if you have this in creo que, is indicative. So you see how you have to follow certain rules or structures that not necessarily, yes, they mean they are like here, that declarative verbs and mental perception. But also creo que is a mental perception and it goes indicative. So we cannot say that all the subjunctives are like that. That would be wrong. But what I'm saying is that you have certain structures that you have to study, that I can show it to you. You have to study or get familiar with them and then use them. In this case, is well, in the case that is pretérito subjunctive, is when this is in the past. So, for example, no creía que fuera así. So, no creía is in the pretérito imperfect. So that's why it was. Obviously, you have to see other videos for this, other classes that explain in more detail. But I'm just doing a summary to understand now this tense. So, but in this case, the things that you have to use is I put it in here. So the first one that I mentioned is the one that it says, for example, me hubiera despertado antes, o hubiera llegado antes. This type of expression or exclamations are used like, I like to show real examples, and the ones that are used is in regular life. Like when you forgot something, for example, or for example, you didn't go to the gym in the morning and you feel like sluggish and tired. Look, even me, I have a Red Bull. I didn't go to the gym today, so I feel tired. So I'll say, hubiera ido al gimnasio hoy a la mañana, o me hubiera despertado antes. So basically, it's like an expression. So I should have waking up early. That's what it means. You should have brought coffee or something, like in these examples. That's one use. Me hubiera y tú hubieras. Well, you use it by itself. You see, you use it like this. And hubiera tomado más café or something instead of Red Bull. Hubiera whatever. that's one of the uses. Another one is, do you remember I told you with these structures that this pattern subjuntivo that triggers them? Well, in this case, like I said, creía que él, it always goes with something that is already happened, but in this case is present perfect. Creía que él se había ido. Sorry, pretérito. Past of the past is this one, past of the past. So I thought he had left. This in English. So I thought he had left. Not that he left. If you say I thought he left, it would be creía que él se fue. But if it's so I thought he had left, then creía que él se había ido. So when you put this one in the negative, then you have to use the pretérito subjunctive, the pluscuamperfecto or whatever, the hubiera. So no creía que él ya se hubiera ido. And the same with all these cases. I'm just saying in here that you don't use it very much. To be honest, I would just say no creía que él maybe I could use no creía que él, or to be honest, I would say no podía creer que se hubiera ido. In this case, I would use, if I'm using, if I'm referring to like this, like to something that already happened before the event. But to be honest, it wouldn't be so bad to say no creía que él se fuera tan pronto, for example. And that could be with fuera. So it could be with the same in English. It's like, I thought he left. I didn't think he will left, or something like that. He will leave. Or I didn't think he left, will be in English. You don't have to use it. But in this case, it's no creía que él ya se hubiera ido. So that's one of the examples that you might be able to see. And when it's negative, and in some cases, but not in all of them. So don't worry so much. But for example, in the first one that I said, this one is very used, that one. Okay, so second, then the rest of the expression, it says that no tienen el hubiera ido después, except some expressions. So you see all these expressions that I showed you here. Hold on, I show you here. So all of these ones, all the subjunctives have them, and I showed it to them. But this one specifically, not much. Just some exceptions, like the one that I showed before, or this one, for example. Me sorprendió que me hubieras llamado. Or llamaras, you see that is the most common use. But if you see it, it's not wrong. It's actually technically correct, and it's an old Spanish. Like in English, you have the old British English that is the correct one, but nobody uses it anymore. Well, it's the same thing. Then, what I like to do here is to give you some exercise so you can practice what we saw in the past video and this one. Please do this. I'm going to do the first two with you, and then please try to think about it. Por ejemplo, this one. Si hubiera sabido, do you remember that we use it in combination with the other, with si, which is if, habría, which is the compound conditional. So, por ejemplo, si hubiera, si. Every time that you put si, you have to put hubiera. Si hubiera sabido. So, always you have si. So, I'm going to put it bigger now in a second. Si plus hubiera, always. Si plus the hubiera, always goes like that. Let me put this bigger, please. And let me see. Yeah, there. I put it bigger. I wrote it there, and I'm going to put bigger there and there. So, si hubiera sabido, let's keep translating this, all right? Si hubiera sabido, te habría traído vino. So, si hubiera sabido, te habría traído, I would have brought you wine, vino. You see, let's say that we're going to have dinner. Vamos a cenar. Entonces, si hubiera sabido, hubiera traído vino. Let's see another example. If, so you see, if you have if, it's with si. If you had listened to me, this wouldn't have happened. Entonces, si me hubieras escuchado, si me, hubieras escuchado, and then goes the habría. And I don't know what's the other part. Me hubieras escuchado, esto no habría sucedido. Esto no habría sucedido. So this is always with the habría, okay, the compound conditional. And so yes, so that's the one. So I'm going to leave you some also situations that you can talk to your language partners. For example, no hubieras gritado a tu hijo. You shouldn't have yelled to your son or to your employee or whatever. Since that, or ¿qué hubieran hecho? No hubiera gritado al empleado, for example. So, you know, this is a way of giving comments to a situation which you use in real life. Now, let's see. What is the difference between these subjunctives? So now that we saw the 4 subjunctives, now we're going to see the difference with Ojala. Okay, Ojala, I have to tell you, Ojala is like a wild card in English. Let me put the recent ones, sorry. Just gonna keep using that notes. Pretéritos, then I can send it to you, these notes, if you want to. Pretérito pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo. I can share it, subjuntivo. So, for example, and let's see with Ojala. Ojala means I hope or I wish. So if it means I hope, is Ojala. So, ojalá, por ejemplo, salga el sol hoy, meaning I hope the sun comes up today. I hope the sun comes up today. Okay. So, but if it's I wish, it means ojalá saliera el sol hoy, meaning I wish the sun comes up today, but it's not looking very good. The sun comes up today. I don't know if it comes up is right, but I hope you understand my point. So, ojalá, meaning here, and it hasn't, and this one, it doesn't look good. So the probabilities are not great. You see, ojalá saliera, so I wish the sun comes up, but I don't think it's gonna come out by now. Let's say it's already 6 p.m., you know, or it's already 5 p.m. It's almost like, I don't know, sunset. So that's why it's ojalá saliera. So you don't have that much hope. Let's see another example. Yeah, the other two. So let's see now with ojalá, but with haya, which means I hope. In this case, you just can use I wish. Why? Because these two examples, it already happened. In this case, it can happen or it can change. In this case, it can't. So for example, ojalá is I wish. So ojalá haya llegado mi esposo a casa. Let's say your husband, tu esposo, your husband is, you're at the office and you're in a meeting and you are thinking about your husband or even with your colleagues and saying, do you think he will have a right? I mean, by now, because he was coming with a flight and it got delayed. So by now, do you think he's home, but you cannot check? So you're just wondering if he's on his way. So ojalá haya llegado mi esposo a mi casa o al aeropuerto. I hope he had arrived. So I hope, but in this case, you don't know if the person arrived or not. In this case, it's something that you don't know the outcome yet, but that doesn't mean that hasn't happened yet. So if, let's say that by now, if he arrived, he should have arrived. So ojalá haya llegado. But let's say you arrive to your house and your husband is not there. So that would be that wish. Entonces, ojalá hubiera llegado hoy, meaning I wish he had arrived today, but he didn't because you're home and you realize that the person is gone. Let's see with another example. These are the easiest ones, but let's see with another example, these two. For example, with an exam. So you go to an exam and you don't know the outcome yet of the exam, but you took it already. So by now, the grades should be online by now. So obviously to your friends, you're saying, ojalá, right, haya aprobado. Haya aprobado, meaning I hope I have passed, right? But let's say I look at the exam, so this is I wish, sorry, and this means I hope. I hope. So let's say you look at the thing and you didn't pass. You look at the online portal and you say, so ojalá, in that case you say, hubiera aprobado. Hubiera aprobado. Okay, then I have other cases and you can use this differentiation. So that's one. The other one that I was thinking is this one. Which is the difference between these sentences? This is with regards to, for example, a situation with money. So, por ejemplo, same thing. It could mean I hope or I wish. So in this case is I hope, ojalá tenga dinero este año para ir de vacaciones. Let's say I'm gonna see my parents on Christmas. And I could technically say some money, we're half of the year, almost July. So maybe I save enough money to go. So I still have hope that it happens. But in this one, you are seeing the negative side of it. Ojalá tuviera dinero para ir. Meaning you don't have it right now, but it might change the situation, but you are seeing it very negatively. So you say ojalá tuviera. Same in English, in saying I hope I have money to go to see my family like this, or ojalá tuviera dinero, but I don't have right now. I might have, but you're being just negative. Then, so meaning this situation can change. Situation can change. Now, these situations cannot change. Situations cannot change. But in this case, is the severity of your wish, of your desire. So in this case, ojalá, this both means I wish, ojalá haya tenido dinero para ir de vacaciones este año. In this case, is haya because the year is not gone yet, but you let's say it's already, I don't know, October, right? And I'm traveling on December, the first days of December. I don't have the money, probably I don't have it. So ojalá haya tenido dinero. So the period is not gone. I could technically go, but I don't have the money. So ojalá haya tenido dinero. But let's say, or let's say that I really had to see my family, that I already saw them twice this year, so it's not a big deal. I mean, ojalá haya ido. I wish I would have it, but it's not such a big deal. But in this case, if I say, ojalá hubiera tenido el dinero para ir, meaning like my father is sick or something, or I haven't seen them in 5 years, so this one is a big deal. So that's what is so important in subjunctive, in las sutilezas, the subtle differences, okay? That is very important. So for that reason, I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to, for homework or in your house, I want you to give me one example of each with another, obviously, example that are not this one. Then I want you to comment on these stories and to use ojalá, haya o espero, me parece buenísimo, with the structures that trigger the subjunctive, please. That's with the language partner. And then in homework, what you're gonna have, let's see, homework. Generally with my students, I give everything. So you have here, it's gonna be 1.3 for you guys, class 4, I think, class 4 homework, class 4 homework, okay? And you're gonna have some examples in here that you have to translate, and then things to practice with your language partner, please. Okay, I hope this was helpful, this video. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel or and click the like button. Thank you.